Alright guys, so this is another video, and today we're going to be working on my wife's Odyssey. So we're going to be doing brakes on it. This is going to be a 2-day job, and basically today I'm going to take it apart. Tomorrow I'm going to get the rotors cut. I'm going to walk you through the process. In the meantime, she's a lone girl. I managed to squeeze her in here. I'm gonna put her on jack stands, and it's gonna be tight, but I'm sure I'll get it done. So let's get to work. All right, she is on stands. As you guys can see, I had to move my toolbox over. She barely fits in the garage. But it's always sketchy getting her up on jack stands, but we got it done. So now I'm gonna can hear my son in the background. We got it done. He's helping me clean it. But anyway, wheels off, and we'll go to the next one. All right, so the next thing we did is I just went ahead and sprayed in here and in here with some PV Blaster. These rotors are in pretty good shape, so they should be able to cut them. So yeah, PV Blaster before we start taking stuff off. Sorry for the mess again, but this is an impact driver. And these are very handy for taking these out, although, look at that. This thing works so well, I didn't even have to hit it with a hammer. Let's see if I have the same luck on all the other wheels. Yeah, I wasn't lucky on the other ones like that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna...
Daddy. So just calm down.
That's how you do that. What I like to do is I like to put some tension on it, push in, and then just smack it with the hammer. And that usually does it.
Okay.
So these can be difficult to figure out which way it's going to turn when you hit it with a hammer. So what I like to do is just push on it like that, and you're going to see the way it turns. That's the easiest way to do that. So again, put it on there, put some tension on it. Grab a good size hammer, and that's it. So, one of the things that you want to watch out for when you're doing brakes, obviously, see the fluid level? What's going to happen is when I compress these calipers, all that fluid is going to shoot up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove some of this fluid. Alright, so I got some of that fluid out, and now I'm going to just press this and so you just kind of pry it a little bit. This is a lazy way of doing things, by the way. How it works. This is the way that I've really always done it. Just to compress it. Check your fluid while you're doing this again. It rose a little bit, but not too bad. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the 2 inner bolts in here. Alright. Caliper comes out. Don't let it hang by the brake liner, of course. I always like to figure out a way to hang the caliper so it's not, you know, you gotta try to get it kind of away from things. Now the rotor can definitely be a pain in the butt. We just hit it with the hammer.
Shine it.
There you go. Who says violence doesn't solve anything? Just kidding. No, but you know, there's a couple of ways you can do that. What I normally do is I figure out a way to put a pry bar. A lot of times you can put a pry bar right here and kind of pull it with one side and smack it right here with the other side without hitting the studs. The way you probably should really do it is there's a couple holes you can thread in bolts and then kind of tap it. Luckily I live in South Carolina where, you know, rust isn't that bad, and part of the reason why I spray penetrant fluid in there is you can see where the PB blaster got in there and really made things nice and loose. You can actually see it all over right here, all over this ring. This is nice and clean. That's what I like to see. Anyway, one rotor off. What I'm going to do tonight is, oh, it's got a little bit of a nick right there. What I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to get all the rotors off tomorrow. I'm going to drop them off, get them cut. They don't have a lip. These have never been cut before. They look pretty good. So I'm going to get them cut, put new pads on it, lube everything up, and yeah, rock and roll. So basically, these vehicles have a electric parking brake, right? And so what you have to do, disconnect this. I'm gonna unbolt the little servo sensor from the back, and then you have to wind it clockwise, and then it allows you to compress your caliper in. If you try to compress the caliper in and the servo is connected, you're gonna mess something up. I doubt you can even compress it in, but if you manage to move it, you're gonna mess something up. So there's several ways to do this, actually. There's people that have a scan tool that just does it. I don't have that. You can bypass, you can put power to this and get the right polarity, and it'll bring the piston in. But in this case, I'm gonna do it the hard way. So I gotta figure it out. Here I grab my handy dandy torque bits. So that would be a T30, right? That deserves a little anti-seize when I gotta put it back, because you can see they're kind of, there's a little bit of rust. So basically that's it right there. And remove that, and then there's 25. Let's see what that does. That's it. So now
night.
Good night, buddy.
Good night.
I'm gonna give you a kiss. Give me one moment.
Okay.
I'll be there in just a sec.
Okay.
I believe you go all the way until it stops. Yep. So it is a T45 clockwise, right? Until it stops. And then I can go ahead and compress this in. You can always grab it from in here and just, sometimes if you just pull it hard enough, you'll get most of it to compress. And then you can just, you know, pry it in. I gotta go check the fluid, make sure I'm not about to overfill. We're good. Alright. I think we can get in there. Just gotta finagle it. Alright. It's tight, but I got it. Okie doke. That's out of there. The wear on the pads looks pretty even, not too bad. Anti-seize, guys. Yay. This rotor doesn't look too bad. There's that mechanism I was telling you guys about. Oh, off to do the last side and then we are done, my friends, for tonight, right? Because tomorrow what I'm going to do is on my way to work, I'm going to drop off these rotors. Just going to have O'Reilly's do it. Not every O'Reilly's offers the service, but my local O'Reilly's offers a service to machine my rotors. So I'm gonna drop them off. Hopefully they do a good job. I'll be sure to let you guys know, although they should. It's not rocket science resurfacing rotors. If you know how to work a rotor lathe, they're not that difficult to work. Again, if you know what you're doing, if they have good bits, etc., etc. So I'm kind of taking a chance. Hindsight, I probably should have just bought new rotors, but I don't know. Why do that if I can just get them machined? So we'll see. Off to the other side, folks. All right, guys, we are back with day 2. I went ahead and got my rotors resurfaced at O'Reilly's, and basically, you know, they got it done in an afternoon. It was $30 per rotor for SUVs and vans, and $25 per rotor for cars, which, you know, I mean, extra $5 for a rotor on a van versus the one in a car. Is it really? Like, what's the difference? But either way, it was still less expensive than buying brand new rotors, and they did do a good job resurfacing these rotors. I'm going to show them to you right now. So this is the driver's rotor, the driver's side front rotor. As you can see, it looks like they cleaned up the rear. And they kind of cleaned up the front, and they did do a good job with the surface. I'm pretty happy with it overall. That's the front. The other side looks identical to that, and then this is the driver's side rear. And yeah, they did a good job with this as well, you know. Overall, yeah, I'm pretty happy. So I think it's expensive, whatever. But you know, I think it's worth it. There's a little spot right here, but you know, not too bad. Either way, I think it's still worth getting your rotors resurfaced. It's nice they provide that service. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to use this little tool right here, and I'm just going to clean up my hubs, clean up my little areas right here, and that just helps all your mounting spots to get a nice mating area. And I'm gonna put some anti-seize down and put everything back together. So let's get it done. We don't want to go ham here. We're just gonna get this kind of cleaned up. So another thing I like to do is I like to clean up this area right here and the back. And the reasoning behind that is simply so that when you put your wheel on and you put, you know, the rotor on and all that stuff, you're trying to create as flat of a surface as humanly possible. And believe it or not, things like that do prevent your rotors from getting warped. You know, even something as simple as properly tightening your lug nuts will prevent your rotors from getting warped over time. So think about that, guys. That's another reason why you always want to torque your nuts, your lug nuts. So torque your nuts. I got new clips. I'm going to put a little bit of goop on there. These are Bosch Quiet Cast. You get the clips, the pads, it's important that you match them up. So you can see that's got the little warning. That's what makes your brakes squeak, right? When they're getting worn down, that's what makes them squeal. I like to make sure they're on the same side. So like that goes there, right? So basically, these are the two I'm going to use. And then you get synthetic brake component lubricant. Put a little bit on the back of the pad, right? And you don't want to go ham. A little bit goes a long way.
Dad,
Yeah, bud.
did you know that there's not only car washes?
What else is there?
There's also truck wash.
There is, my man, there is.
Yeah, but truck washes are not for cars.
Yeah.
But they're much taller. Cause they're tall because they're for tall truck,
Yep.
not for cars.
Right. I have a bench to do this on, but you know the bench is for keeping all your crap, not for actually working on it, duh. Just kidding, I'm being sarcastic. One day I'm gonna get my act together and I'm gonna have a clean bench. One day. This is all the hardware you get, obviously. Right? Sometimes there's a difference. Those two are the same. And they're all the same. Everything fits a little better when you just run the old wire brush through it. And then the inside areas get grease.
Dad, I know how to believe. Dad, I know the phone number.
You know how to call the police?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
It's 911.
You got it.
But we only call for real emergencies.
You got that right, my man.
You don't call them for jokes. No, I don't.
No, you don't mess with stuff like that. Alright, go through it. So what we're gonna do to put this together is we're gonna put the bracket on first. Because of those little springs, it's tough to put it all together. So we're gonna put it all like this.
This is a perfect tool. This is perfect. It's a long broom, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Just make sure you don't hit the car, okay?
I know. Perfect. Said it's a little long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's perfect. Ew, a car block. That's not good. Ooh. Where you go? In the car block. It's in the car. Look, go. No, I go there. The car is oh, yeah. The car is there. I brought it.
All right. So we're moving on to the Rotors. Similar process. But for whatever reason, they made these 17s, maybe 16, 17 bolts too thin to sneak a wrench in there. So I found a spanner from one of my little pneumatic tools that works just fine. So for whatever reason, the bottom one is tighter. It was on the other side as well. Something weird about these Bosch pads, they didn't come with this shim. I'm sure Honda put it there for a reason, so I'm gonna reuse it. Hold my sliders. Too much. guy goes on. Plenty tight. And then you just kind of sneak these in. Like so. Place our caliper. Spinner. All right. Don't forget to pump the brakes. Gotta pump the brakes. Otherwise, big old whoopsie. This is the parking brake unit. Air. If anybody sees, it's one of those bolts that sucker ever locks up on you. It's seized or broken in there. That's the day that's gonna suck. We don't want to do that. So, that's what I love about maintaining my own vehicles. Guys, I know these three cars like the back of my hand. And whenever I do something to them, I know that the next time I need to take that thing apart, that I'm going to be able to, because I do things like this to make sure, My truck, the 80 series, my GS 430, and this van, I can tell you everything there is to know about all three of those cars. Just a good feeling. So I encourage everybody to service your own vehicles, even if it's an inconvenience, because you can service your own cars like this. They're probably never gonna break down on you. Save yourself a lot of money. Learn a lot. It's awesome. Alright guys, so basically what we're gonna do, we're just gonna pump these brakes. They go way down and they get stiffer and stiffer. And you can hear everything tightening up. If you don't do this step, the moment you put this thing in reverse, you realize all of a sudden, I ain't got no brakes. You don't want to do that. Now we gotta check our brake fluid, which is, I don't know if you guys can see it. We're on the minimum line, so I'm gonna put some in there. The reason it's where it is because I took some out. That should do it. There we go. Topped off brake fluid. Now we're gonna put the wheels on and take her out for a ride. I won't bore you with the details of putting the wheels on, but I do believe that is a successful brake job. And we got the rotors turned. So not just a good old pad slap on there. This should be good to go for another, well, car's got 55,000 miles on it, so should be good to go for another 55,000 miles. Next brake job, we'll probably just go ahead and replace those rotors. Well guys, hope you enjoyed this episode. I don't show my minivan often because, well, it's a minivan, but figured I'm going to be doing this, so what the hell, why not? Hope you guys enjoy it. Like, subscribe, let me know if you have any comments, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.